We welcome any who join us as guests today, coming with the baptism families in particular. You strengthen us by your presence. It's very fitting. We have been reflecting on family. What makes for a happy family? Wouldn't we like to know? We all want to be happy, and we all live in a family. So if we can combine those two, that'd be great. But it's very fitting because we're celebrating family today with baptisms. These young families who have given birth to these children, and now bringing them into God's family, bringing them to the Holy Spirit of God. Very powerful. So maybe you'll find some insights in the homily today that you can practice at home. This is our fourth week in this series of reflections, happiness in the family. We said there's three aspects that have to be there, and we keep going back to them each week. First, you have to be willing to forgive each other, whether it's your spouse, your brothers and sisters, your parents. We're not perfect. We're inconsistent. We sin. We are tempted. We're going to hurt each other sometimes. You got to forgive it. You have to expect that. Don't be so surprised by it, right? Don't take it so personally. You got to sometimes just let it wash over, right? It hurts today, tomorrow. You got to make up and move ahead. Life is messy. Family is messy. Children are messy, right? Children are messy. Little babies are messy. That's just natural, right? Don't be surprised by it. Forgive. That's essential if you want to be happy. Secondly, you have to try to keep serving each other. You got to show respect to each other. You got to try to put each other first. It's not easy. We tend to be self-centered. You got to break out. Put your spouse first. Put your parents first. Put your children first. Put your brothers and sisters first. Your job is to help make them be the best they can be. And in return, as it turns out, you'll become the best you can be. And you'll be happy with yourself. So keep trying to serve the people in your family. And then third, you got to pray for each other and you got to pray for God's help. You got to realize that your family is part of God's family and it's part of a society. Like you don't just live for happiness among yourselves. You won't be happy. Live for others and you'll be happy. That's what the readings today remind us of, right? If you're just seeking to be, to be full and to have fun and to stay away from problems of life, you're not going to have a meaningful life. Don't seek the satisfaction just in pleasure and ease. Engage the challenges of life. Engage God. Put others first, and you'll be happy now and forever. Jeremiah told us that in the first reading. Jesus told us that in the Gospel of Luke. Forgive each other, serve each other, pray with and for each other. Last week I was with some priest friends, a few days off, and we were sharing ideas about initiatives in their parishes, here at St. Philip's as well. And one of them said, I have a practical tip for families. He said, I realize a lot of the young couples in our parish, they tell me they go to bed at night after a long day, husband's on one side of the bed, the wife's on the other side, and they both have their phones. One is Facebooking, one is texting, one is checking emails. They're together, but they're not together. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of such a thing, if you can relate to this at all. So the tip is this. Put all your phones downstairs, charge them downstairs or in the living room or the kitchen, including your children's phones. And at this point, the teenagers are saying, Father, stop it. Shh, quiet, zip. What are the children doing? Maybe they're in their room playing video games till midnight or texting friends. You know, at night we're tired, we're weak. Sometimes we look at indecent things on our phones. Put them downstairs, charge them all together. And then if one phone is missing, you know which child it is. You can go to their room and find it. Practical tip, it will promote happiness and conversation in family. 2 weeks ago, we discussed the role of fathers. Parents serve their children. Fathers in a particular way, we said, make sure you're giving your child blessings, like affirm your child, encourage your child, right? We tend to be the quiet man, strong man. That's not bad, but you got to push through that sometimes in your actions and words and encourage and affirm your children. Don't push them too hard. Make sure you're encouraging them as well. God has a plan for you. You have special talents and abilities which you're going to find as you grow, and we're here to help you do it. Fathers, bless your children. Mothers, Father Isaac reflected on mothers last week, the way that they serve their children. And one important aspect of mothering is at a certain point you got to let your child go. Sometimes moms, we can hold on to our child too much. Right? A mother gives everything to the child. You give your bodies to the child. You're feeding the child. You're exerting yourself, raising the child, teaching the child. But at a certain point, you also got to give your child away. You're giving everything away to your child. At a certain point, you give your child away. They break away. One of our parishioners was, their first child went to college this past fall, and the whole family went to drop them off at campus. And mom was crying. This is dramatic separation. It's not easy, but it comes. I mean, you're raising your children to be adults. You got to let them go. Today we want to reflect on children. How children relate to each other and how we relate to our parents. Now, some of us maybe we're the only child in a family. We didn't have brothers and sisters. Others of us do. But how do we relate to siblings, but also to our parents? So first, how do we relate to each other? Remember the first family, Adam and Eve? And they had two boys initially, Cain and Abel. And the two boys didn't get along with each other. And one day God appeared to Cain and he said, "Where's your brother Abel?" And Cain said, "What? Am I supposed to know where he is all the time? Am I my brother's keeper?" And God said, "You bet you are. You have responsibility toward your brother. We are our brother's keeper. Duties toward our brothers and sisters, to encourage them, to challenge them, to help them." Often we struggle with sibling rivalries. We don't always get along. There's 6, in my family there were 6 children. That's not a lot of elbow room. There's not a lot of space in the house. You're banging into each other. And as brothers, we were kind of close in years, so we literally were banging into each other, sometimes on purpose. A lot of rivalry and competition, sometimes anger. Remember, we had a ping pong table downstairs, and there were some pretty intense ping pong games. You didn't want to lose. Your pride was on the line. And I was the oldest, so I'm supposed to win. That's a lot of stress. That's a lot of pressure. But I remember as soon as we started going away to college, we began to miss each other. We just need a little space. So if we have tension among our brothers and sisters, just realize it's a temptation. It's common, but it's wrong. It's a temptation. Keep pushing against it. Keep trying to be patient and generous to each other. We have responsibility. We know, sadly, even in our parish, some families where brothers haven't talked to each other in years. They may not even remember why. Something happened, they both were offended, and they're not willing to forgive. At a certain point, you just got to step up and be the peacemaker. Like, this is ridiculous. Maybe you hurt me, and it doesn't, we can't take away the hurt, but let's move on, right? Life is messy. Someone's got to step up and take the initiative. I'm going to be the peacemaker in our family. I'm going to try to reconcile my brothers and sisters. I'm going to be the one who tries to get us together, right? The organizer. Every family needs one. Get together for vacations or holidays. Maybe you're called to be that person in your family. Maybe you've been hurt, but God is saying you got to be the one to make the peace. Let it go. They're never going to tell you they're sorry. Let it go. It's not that important. Unity in the family is more important. So relating to each other, I know, when you have many children in a family, a big family, at different points, even when you grow up as adults, one will fall and maybe they're sick or maybe they have a moral struggle or financial. And you kind of rally around and you pick them up. And then all's going well, then somebody else falls. You kind of rally around them. That's normal. The family is the natural welfare system. To care for each other. It's what we're supposed to do. And then secondly, as children, how do we relate to our parents? The 4th commandment says, honor your father and mother. God commands us to. It's a basic rule of life. Try to respect our parents. We do it in different ways as we grow up. When we're in middle school or high school, literally obey your parents. They have the authority to tell us what to do, as long as they're not telling us to do something immoral. That's just the way it is. But try to do it willingly. Often when children come to confession, sometimes they say, "I don't know what to confess, Father." I say, Do you ever complain when your parents ask you to do something? Well, that's a sin. Look, you're going to have to do it anyway, so just smile and do it, right? Don't make your parents' job harder. Try to do it willingly. Help your parents in their task. Try to respect them. Try to listen to them. One day you're going to be parents. You're going to want your children to listen to you. We grow up. We enter college or young adults, or we're newly married. And sometimes we can become disconnected from our parents because we have our own life. We have our own duties, jobs, responsibilities, busy. But you're still part of your parents' family as well. Make time for your parents. Call them, visit them. And do it willingly, not like, oh gosh, gotta go see mom. It's family. Like, put your heart into it. Put your best face, right? Family is important. Sometimes when we're starting out in life, like, I'm good, I'm going, I don't need my family. You do. You're going to find out. Life is challenging, a lot of twists and turns. Stay connected through life. And then our parents start to become older, and they need our help. Care for mom and dad. Sometimes we might move far away from home, and we've got to say, how do I connect with my parents? Well, make a plan. How often are you going to call home? Every other week, once a week, every other day? How often are you going to visit? Once a week, once a month? But plan it, right? Don't do it randomly. Like, know how often you should do it, and if you're not doing it, kind of examine yourself and recommit to doing it. Sometimes I hear parents say, it's very sad, as they get older and they need some help, but I don't want to burden my children. I don't want them to have to care for me. Parents, you're not a burden. Your children were a burden on you growing up, right? When you had to wake up in the middle of the night, or you had to feed them, or you had to do their homework with them, take them to high school, pay for their education, take them to soccer, take them to ballet. But they weren't really a burden. That's life. It's what we do. Our parents care for us when we're young. We care for them when we're older. That's the way it's supposed to be. We live in a really strange society that says, no, some strangers will take care of them. Now, admittedly, sometimes we need help. We need nursing care. But we should be the primary caregiver. And it's not easy and it's tiring, but it's life. It's what we're supposed to do. It's the natural rhythm of life. I recently visited a parish family here, and the mother is dying. She's in hospice care, but her son and daughter were with her. And when I went in, the son was holding his mom with his right hand. So I came in, and he reached out his left hand to shake my hand. It was a little awkward. I said, I don't want to let go of my mom's hand. He was holding his mom's hand as she's dying. His mom held his hand when he was growing up, and now he wants to hold her hand to accompany her into the next life. Very beautiful image. Honor our father and mother, and God will honor us. And so, my brothers and sisters, just keep making the effort. Keep engaging the effort within our families. Be your brother's keeper. Honor your father and mother, for indeed that is what makes for a happy family. Amen.